the CLEOFAS, and I'm here to present the paper, Design of a Rainwater Harvesting System and its Potential as a Source for Domestic Water Supply. The contents of this presentation are introduction, the objectives, methodology, results, conclusions and recommendations, and of course the references. We are all aware about the value of water. We can survive for 21 days without food, but barely 3 days without water. And the existence of a planet can be justified through the presence of water, of course. Globally, majority of the Earth's surface is salt water and only 2.8% is fresh water. This fresh water can be found in groundwater, lakes and streams, and in glaciers and ice caps. This caricature is very significant. And this shows the current water situation, not only in our country, but globally. The then and the now is really existing. It really exists, and it speaks for itself, this caricature. We have too much water then, but now we really have, and we are experiencing water stress. And we can blame it on population explosion, which nobody can control. Let's take a look at the water cycle. It follows the path of water within the earth and in the atmosphere. What we really expect as common people, we really expect that rainwater will become groundwater, or it may fill surface water sources. But the reality is, when rainwater becomes groundwater, there is a possibility of it being over-extracted, or when it fills surface water, there is always the tendency of contamination. In other parts of the world, water is being harvested in its vapor form, but that is something medyo too technical, expensive. But there is something that is easier, and actually it has been practiced in the Philippines and all over the world, but it's not yet taken seriously, especially in our country. We are always watching about groundwater and surface water, and we forget that we have an option, and that option is to harvest rainwater before it reaches the ground. As I was saying before, harvesting of rainwater is not a new practice. It has been practiced in the Philippines and all over the world. And but before that, I would like to reiterate that we have groundwater and surface water issues, especially in our country. In 1998, the National Water Resources Board, through its National Water Resources Master Plan, identified 9 water-stressed cities. But recently, through the recently completed projects of NWRB, the problem is extended to other cities in the country, and other municipalities. So this is the reason why we should consider an alternative, and that is rainwater harvesting before it reaches the ground. And to mention, rainwater harvesting has been practiced remarkably in China, in Africa, in the US, in India, and in Australia. In Australia, actually, I was able to personally witness a treatment facility for rainwater, or stormwater for that matter. In Australia, they don't just collect rainwater that falls on roof. They collect all rainwater and stormwater, and actually they are really adapting the separate system of sewerage, wherein stormwater directly goes to the facility for treatment. And of course, there are a lot of things behind that, and it's the people who are benefiting from it. The objectives of this study include building a suitable prototype of a rainwater harvesting system that will optimize the amount of harvested rainwater in meeting the daily water consumption of a single household, to determine if the quality of the filtered harvested rainwater will satisfy the Philippine national standards for drinking water, and to establish the economic viability of the proposed design of the rainwater harvesting system. So the study area is located, this study area is actually in Malaybalay, Bukidnon. And the area is located in a type 4 climate. The type 4 climate indicates that rainfall is more or less evenly distributed throughout the year. But although, of course, during February, March, and April, there is a lesser rainfall amount. So why Bukidnon? Actually, we cannot propose something like this in Metro Manila or in other cities because we are enjoying the taps in our houses, and I think this will not be attractive to the people in the National Capital Region. So that's why we chose Bukidnon as the study area, and it's also because most likely many areas are not yet catered by water utilities. The methodology includes data gathering, installation of the rainwater harvesting system, the harvesting period, and data analysis. For the data gathering, all meteorological data were gathered from PAGASA. Water demand is considered 80 liters per capita per day in Region 10 based on an NWRB publication. The average household size based on the Philippine Statistics Authority is 5 persons per household, and the rainwater harvesting potential is calculated using the rational method, which is Q is equal to CIA. C is considered 0.90 to account for the losses, including evaporation and others. So this is a typical community in Malaybalay, Bukidnon that was considered for this study. This is the design of the rainwater harvesting system. Actually, this storage could be larger if it's preferred by the owner of the household. But as you can see, we have a filter column. So there is a filtration system happening within this orange pipe. And this is how it looks like. It's a dual media filter composed of gravel, sand, activated carbon, and then another layer of gravel and sand. The rainwater harvesting system was installed in October to November 2022, and the samples were taken in December 2022. 6 rainwater samples were collected for quality testing, 3 for unfiltered and 3 for filtered. Parameters that was sampled were pH, iron content, and the total coliform count. Preservation and collection of samples were based on the instructions of the laboratory. For the data analysis, the data were analyzed for its sufficiency, water quality, and economic analysis. For sufficiency, the formula used was daily collected rainwater divided by the daily water demand. If the sufficiency is at 100%, it is adequate. Otherwise, it is inadequate. By the way, I would like to mention that The catchment areas considered in this study are the roof areas of the residential houses. For water quality, pH, iron, and total coliform were compared with the Philippine National Standards of Drinking Water. For the economic analysis, the payback period was used, and it was calculated using the construction cost of the installed rainwater harvesting system divided by the water savings. So the water savings was calculated using the formula of Malaybalay City Water District, and it includes the minimum charge in excess of the minimum the minimum amount of water that is supposedly used by the constituents, and commodity charge. For the results and discussion, this table shows the computation of the monthly average daily rainfall harvesting potential in liters per day of several catchment areas in Malaybalay, Bukidnon. Again, I would like to say that the several catchment areas that are being referred to in this table are catchment areas or roof areas of individual houses. The first column shows demands, rainfall depth as per gathered from Pag-asa, and these are the rainfall harvesting potential in liters per day of different roof areas. So we considered 20 square meters, 40 square meters, 60 square meters, 80 square meters, and 100 square meters. The comparison was graphed, and we can observe from this figure, so the green line represents the daily water demand. And it was observed from the graph that houses with areas of 20 square meters and 40 square meters do not meet the daily water demand, while roof areas with 60 square meters and above can meet the daily water demand for all the months of the year except for February, March, and April. But then we can observe also surplus in this part of the graph, and the surplus can be used and stored to be consumed or to cater to constituents during the lean months of February, March, and April. Consistent with the last slide, the values of sufficiencies were also calculated. As mentioned in the previous slide na mayroong formula for sufficiency, it appears that for catchment areas or roof areas with 60 square meters and above have sufficiencies of around 100% and more than 100%. So it's consistent with the last slide that roof areas with 60 square meters can satisfy the daily water demand. For the water quality analysis, pH and iron, although the values of unfiltered rainwater results from the laboratory, these two values are within the Philippine National Standards for drinking water. Although after passing through the filter column, the values have been adjusted, but then it's still within the Philippine National Standards for drinking water. But for the coliform count, although it has been reduced to a certain value, it does not meet the standards for drinking water. Okay, so for the economic analysis, this this figure or this table shows the monthly water demand, monthly daily water demand. Okay, this column. So it represents an average person of 5 per household, and then 80 liters per capita per day water requirement. So ito yung 12 cubic meters per month. Now, this rainfall harvesting potential has been calculated in the previous table, and this savings is actually calculated using the formula used by Malaybalay City Water District. And it also appears that there will be more savings if the roof area is 60 square meters or more. This is how the water savings is calculated. Now, the water savings in this particular study refers to that amount that they are supposed to pay to Malaybalay City Water District if they are connected. So, in other words, if they will be installing their own rainwater harvesting system, the amount that they are supposed to pay the Malaybalay City Water District will be considered as the savings. And using the payback period for the 60 square meters roof catchment above and above, so ito yung payback period, around 30 months for watershed or catchment, for catchment areas with 60 square meters. Okay, and around 24 months for catchment areas with 80 square meters and above. So, in conclusion, the proposed rainwater harvesting system in Bukidnon is sufficient for 60 square meters and greater catchment areas. pH and iron content are adjusted by the proposed filter column. Although in this particular experiment, pH and iron need not be adjusted anymore because it is already within the Philippine National Standards for Drinking Water. The total coliform count did not meet the Philippine National Standards for Drinking Water. And lastly, the proposed rainwater harvesting system is able to return investments made to install it for about 30 months, considering sufficient roof areas. For the recommendations, we recommend to consider the possibility of disinfection after filtration, especially if the water is intended for drinking. Also, it is recommended that testing of other parameters to test the efficiency of the filter column. Consider studying other options in order for houses with roof areas less than 60 square meters to also enjoy the benefits of rainwater harvesting. And finally, it is recommended that rainwater harvesting system be included in the design of structures before implementation, or plan a communal system considering the average water areas, watershed or catchment areas of the houses in the study area. And these are the references. Thank you very much for listening.